everyone! Today I have the Samyang 85mm f1.4 Mark II lens. This is a full frame lens for Sony E-mount, so I'm going to be using it on the Sony a7 IV today. We're going to be taking this lens out to a portrait photo shoot to see how it performs in the real world for both photo and video, so let's get started. Can I please get you to stand just like here a little bit in the grass? And then I'll just see what it looks like. I'm on an 85, Dan.
That's your problem, not mine.
Whoa. For our photo shoot today, our model is Amel, Lydia is on hair and makeup, and Dan is behind the camera filming this video. I haven't had the chance to shoot with a proper, beautiful golden hour like this in the longest time, so I got really excited when we started our photo shoot because the light was so perfect. Usually I talk about particular lens characteristics like lens flares towards the end of the review, but since I wanted to make the most of this lighting, we're going to start with that instead. This Samyang 85mm f1.4 Mark II has a significant amount of ghosting and lens flare when you take photos in strong backlit conditions like this. I personally think this flaring looks absolutely amazing. Lens flares like this can be incorporated creatively into your work. In my opinion, a lens flare is easy to work with when there are no strong shapes or lines. As you can see in the majority of the photos, this flare is very soft and melts into the image. There are a couple of photos here and there where we have a more defined lens flare, however, those appeared sparingly during our photo shoot. It's great to see how Amel cuts through nicely from that backlight in some shots as well. Alright, and then I'm going to shoot a full body shot here as well. So I have to go way back. Oh, scared me. Ooh, that looks so cool there. In these first few shots, we can see a nice amount of bokeh. At f1.4, the bokeh is fairly round towards the center of the frame and forms an eye shape the closer you get to the edges. I took sample images on another day and you can see the bokeh is round when wide open and starts forming a nonagon shape as you bump up your aperture. This is due to the lens only having 9 aperture blades. Throughout all the apertures, the bokeh from this Samyang is clean. And then can I please get you to stand? Would you be comfortable standing just in here?
Yeah.
Like stomp it out for you first. Yeah, I want to get some of like those trees in the frame as well. This lens has a very smooth runoff with depth of field as well. In terms of the overall image, the background looks super creamy and soft, which is what I love to see when using fast semi-telephoto prime lenses like this. And for close-up photos at f1.4, I love how smooth the runoff is from the in-focus parts of her face to where it shifts to being out of focus. And then I saw a really cool patch of grass like over there that we can use too. That looks so pretty. So if you wanted to, I feel like that patch up there looks so good. So maybe we can start with like a standing shot. The Samyang 85mm f1.4 Mark II is a weather sealed lens weighing 509 grams. This lens features a focus ring, a customizable focus hold button, and a custom switch. In order to customize the buttons and perform firmware updates, you do need the separate Samyang lens stock. This 85mm has a minimum focus distance of 85 centimeters and has a 72mm filter thread. And then do you want to do one if you kind of scrunch up the skirt so you can see like one of your knees? Yeah, I feel like with one of your knees up would look cool. And then you can have like the skirt just like above the knee a little bit as well. Like other recent Samyang lens releases, this 85 Mark II makes use of a linear STM AF motor. For a portrait photo shoot or photography scenarios where the subject is staying quite still like we are seeing here, this lens performs well. I had a substantial amount of photos with tack sharp focus and had no problems while culling this photo shoot. Any photo where I like the pose and Amel's expression, I would zoom in and bam, it's tack sharp. you want to also try a shot if you sit facing like a little bit more towards that tree, and then you can like look back at me over your shoulder? Perfect. And then with your right hand, if you wanted to put it on your knee, yeah. The only time this lens consistently struggled is when taking photos of Amor walking around. Oh, that looks incredible. This lens is a little sluggish when it comes to capturing action, so if you regularly shoot moving subjects with a shallow aperture, you might find yourself struggling to get a set of sharp images with this 85. In saying that, it's not impossible. Even at f1.4, I did end up editing 2 walking shots I really liked of Amor that were tack sharp, but I did have to take many photos to be able to get those. We'll just get like some standing shots there as well. I'm gonna shoot like super wide, but it's still head to toe for you. Yeah, I love that super big pacing, looks so cool. And then I'm gonna shoot some photos at f2. Why do I always go to talk when there's an airplane? Overall, during this photo shoot, and especially during the shots where Amor was not walking around, I had a really good in-focus ratio that would make me feel confident using this lens during a portrait session. I always say Samyang lenses have great character, especially for portrait work, and this lens is no exception. We've seen quite a few example images that I've taken now, and you can see just how tack sharp it is even at f1.4. It's doing a fantastic job at keeping focus on the iris as well. If you crouch like on this side and I'll jump in the grass, I need to use that sun. Okay, so if you wanted to crouch like as close as you could, it looks like you're just in a huge field.
Oh my god, it really does.
It's not fixing your face. No. I feel like I'm getting a lot of close-up portraits. I'll get a bit further away. That looks so pretty. Overall, this lens has a nice balance between being sharp enough to see plenty of details, but still retaining plenty of character. Typically, Samyang lenses tend to be a little on the warmer side when it comes to colors straight out of camera. This 85 has a slightly warm color cast, but it's not as prominent as some of their other lenses. From my personal experience, the Samyang 85 Mark II has great control over chromatic aberration. Considering the extremely bright golden hour backlight we were utilizing, I can barely see any fringing in our shots. There is faint magenta CA that appears in small sections in a couple of images. I think this is a negligible amount of fringing that is hard to see unless you're zooming in and looking for it. Plus, it's very easy to fix in post when it's this minor. Just like photo, this lens is stunning for video. Dan filmed all these shots handheld on the Sony a7S III and is only relying on autofocus so we can see the performance of this 85. This lens is quiet to focus and does a good job at keeping focus on Amor both during close-up portraits and when there is movement from her walking side to side. You can see focus slipping when there is a quicker movement, and especially when Amor moves towards or away from the lens. This lines up with the same struggles I was having with focus while capturing those walking photos of her. This more defined and green looking lens flare, by the way, is probably caused by the ND filter Dan is using on the lens. I did not have any filter on during the photography part, so the photos are a better representation of what the lens flare looks like. Aside from that, the image quality in video is beautiful. The footage is sharp with a substantial amount of detail and texture, and I love what the bokeh looks like too. We did a few extra tests for video with the camera on a tripod. Something interesting I noticed, which happened a few times both at the photo shoot and on this separate day, is that in video mode, when focus on the subject is lost, the lens seems to want to default back to minimum focus distance. Typically, when focus is lost like that, I find that other lenses tend to hunt around a little bit within the range focus was lost before maybe hunting through the rest of the barrel. But it seems like this Samyang defaults back to minimum focus without even trying to hunt. During these tests, the lens does a decent job at keeping up with focus while I'm walking towards the lens. It's faster at keeping focus the further away I am, and as soon as I get into a close-up or headshot length away from the camera, that's where it tends to start slipping focus more. This 85mm has a significant amount of focus breathing. So that is all I have for today's review of the Samyang 85mm f1.4 Mark II lens. I'd love to know what you think of the lens and of the photos and the videos that we captured down in the comments below. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I make new videos every single week, so I will see you all next time. Bye!